Hi, and welcome to the iPhone Life podcast. I'm Donna Cleveland, editor-in-chief at iPhone Life.
And I'm David Averbach, CEO and publisher.
Today we are celebrating our 150th episode of the iPhone Life podcast.
Wow, congratulations, Donna.
Can you believe that?
What's the traditional gift for the 150th episode?
I think something bronze, and I don't know.
Yeah. No, I cannot believe it. That is a lot. That's a lot of time you and I have spent talking about iPhones together.
I know. It's been so much fun. It's one of my favorite parts of this job, I have to say.
It is a lot of fun. And thank you all for sticking around. Okay,
I know.
This isn't the official question of the day. Is there anybody out there who's listened to all 150 episodes? Send us an email at podcast@iPhoneLife.com.
Yeah, I know. I wonder, I do feel like we have a very loyal fan base of listeners who've been with us for this whole time. So it'd be fun to hear from you. Email us and let us know what you enjoy most about the podcast too. That would be a lot of fun.
Or anything you'd like to see changed. I'm curious because I feel like I'm subjective, but I feel like we've gotten better over time. I feel like the early episodes were not as good.
Well, I remember the first time we recorded, or the first couple times, I had this impression like, oh, I have to say everything perfectly or else we have to start all over again. So we're like in front of the mic, like how am I going to get through like an hour without having to start all over again?
Well,
so we've come a long way since then.
In the early days, we had one microphone for all three of us, and we weren't recording the video, so you couldn't see us. So what we'd do is we'd all sit around like on the floor with our faces next to this microphone, and this little because Sarah was there, all three of us. So we've
before
come
the
a long
days
way.
of COVID.
Yeah, before the days of COVID, and now we're in our homes. But we actually have a studio that I would like to see someday.
I know. Yeah, it's fun to get to hang out on Zoom, but it was more fun when we did it in person. So it'll be fun to get back to that one day, which maybe fits in with our new theme for this issue, for this episode. You can tell I'm thinking about the magazine. We're about to go to print. Anyways, this episode, the theme is New Year, New You. So we want to go over apps and gear and tips for decluttering your phone to give you a fresh start for 2021.
Yes.
And how that fit in with what I was saying before is hopefully in the coming year at some point we'll all be back in the office together again.
I cannot wait.
And David, do you want to tell us about our sponsor for this episode?
Yeah, today's sponsor is OWC. And OWC is this great company. They have this really great line of Mac and iPhone and iPad accessories, and they also sell used and refurbished Mac computers. But today I'm going to tell you about their product, the USB-C travel dock. And don't let the name fool you. It is great for if you're traveling, but it's really great for if you're at home as well. I've talked about it in the past, but this is actually the second generation, so they've made some improvements. And what it is basically for your iPad or your Mac computer that's USB-C, it has a cable that is now built in, which is nice, and you plug it in, and it gives you a range of docks that you now can use with either your Mac or your iPad. And it has a traditional USB-C cable. It has an SD card reader. It has an HDMI reader. It also has this really cool new feature, which it has a USB-C pass-through up to 100 watts. And what that means, I know it's a little bit technical, but what that means is you can actually plug your charging cable into this dock, and it passes through, so you can be charging your computer while also having access to all these other docks and only having one cable plugged into your computer, so you don't have to have this mess of cables. So it's a really great product. It looks sleek. It's aluminum. It matches the Mac look and feel, and it's pretty affordable. So make sure you check it out. We'll link to it in the show notes, or you can go to owcdigital.com and find it. And again, that is the USB-C travel dock, used for travel and at home, because we're not traveling right now, but it's still great.
It sounds like I need one for my new Mac.
You do. I have one. I love it.
Yeah, with the limited ports on the newer devices like this are crucial.
Yeah, everybody needs a dock for to have all the range of cables that you sometimes need.
Yeah. All right, next I want to tell you about our daily tip newsletter. We send out a free daily newsletter where you can learn something cool you can do with your iPhone in just 1 minute a day. It's a really awesome service because a lot of us don't want to invest a ton of time learning how to use our devices, but we don't want to miss out on all the cool things that your iPhone and iPad can do. We also include tips for the Apple Watch. We're getting into Mac as well. So go to iPhoneLife.com/dailytip to sign up. I have a tip I wanted to share with all of you this week that I've been making a lot of use of, and it's how to use picture-in-picture on your iPhone and iPad. And this is a feature that's been around for the iPad for years, but it's new for the iPhone ever since iOS 14. And there's some new tips and tricks, even if you have been using it for years. There's some new ways you can use it. So first, I just wanted to talk about what apps this feature is available for. As most of you know, picture-in-picture minimizes your video view so that it only takes up a little bit of your screen so that you can multitask and do other things while you're watching a video. And it works with a lot of Apple's stock apps. I actually have a list here of apps you can use it with. You can use it for FaceTime, which is really nice. You can use it in the podcast app for video podcasts. What are some of the apps that you use it for?
The main one I use it for is FaceTime. And this is new with iOS 14 that you can do it with FaceTime. Before on FaceTime, if you were on a FaceTime call and you swiped up to use your phone, it would pause, and the video would pause, and it would tell the other person that the video was paused. And so it was very clear to the other person that you were not watching them, and you could not multitask. Now, sometimes especially with COVID and, all the people I don't get to see, I'll have pretty long FaceTime calls where either I'll want to multitask because I'm talking about something that I want to look up on my phone, or maybe sometimes I get a text message that comes in and I'm responding to that text message as I'm talking to somebody. Little things like that where it's really nice to be able to have their video and have my video not pause, while also being able to sometimes use my phone for other things.
Another use case that's great is if you're one of our insider subscribers, you get video versions of our daily tips and our guides. When you log into our site, you can go watch the video and have it be small so that you can still be scrolling through the written step-by-step directions and then follow along with it as you watch on the video. Or you could be going into your settings and change the settings that the video is telling you to do while you're watching, because we use Vimeo and YouTube to play our videos, and those are apps that are compatible with this. Vimeo is what we use for our insider videos, and it definitely works. I was going to say, actually, a caveat is that YouTube is a little tricky. YouTube they want to make you pay for their YouTube monthly service in order to use picture-in-picture and be able to minimize your video window. It seems like with some YouTube videos, you can play it through the Safari app and not use the YouTube app, and then you can use picture-in-picture, but I think that Apple's tried to block that too. But anyway, I'm going to post a list at iPhoneLife.com/podcast of all of the apps that are compatible, because I think it's a feature you're not going to take advantage of unless you know that it's there. But it works for a lot of the network news apps like CNN, for the NFL, Netflix, and Hulu support it. There's a bunch of ones, so I'm going to post that there.
And if you're
at iPhoneLife.com/podcast.
Just to echo what Donna said, if you're an insider, I really encourage you to test this out with Insider, because it's such a cool functionality to have the tip going and be able to follow the steps as you're doing it. So you have the video in the corner and it says go to settings, and you go to settings and you could see where it is. And it's such a great way to use the video tips we have every day to actually customize the things you want to customize while somebody is walking you through it. It's really an awesome functionality that we're taking advantage of there. So if you're an insider, make sure you check it out. And if you're not an insider, we have a great link for you.
Yeah. Also, not to mention, if you're listening to the video version of this podcast, it's great.
Yeah.
Which also, I just wanted to take a minute to explain to people, because it can be a little confusing. We have an audio and a video version of the podcast. They're both available through any podcast player that pretty much any podcast player that you'd want to use, but they're two separate feeds. So if you want the video version, you search for iPhone Life Video Podcast. Otherwise, you just search for iPhone Life Podcast. And so you would subscribe to those separately.
You also can watch it on our website at iPhoneLife.com/podcast, and we also put it in YouTube. So we're everywhere.
We're everywhere, yeah.
Everywhere you
All
want
right.
to be.
So back to picture-in-picture. I've told you about like the benefit of why you'd want to use picture-in-picture. So here's how you use it. Once you open up one of the apps that I mentioned and are playing a video, or you're making a FaceTime call or something like that, you either tap, like there's going to be a little picture-in-picture icon, which is like a square with a little arrow, and you tap that and it makes the window smaller. Or if you're in full screen mode while you're playing the video and just swipe up from the bottom of your display, you'll also go into picture-in-picture. But that'll only work if you're in the full screen mode. If you're playing a video just in like, that's not in full screen mode and you swipe up, you'll just close the app. So that's a distinction that messed me up for a while that I wanted to explain. And then once you have a smaller window, you can just pinch and spread your fingers to resize the video window, and you can move it around. You can drag and drop the window anywhere you want on your display, so it's not covering up anything you're trying to use. And this is a cool newer feature. You can swipe the window off of your display and a little like arrow tag will appear and the audio will continue of whatever you were listening to. But that way, let's say you need your whole display without any obstruction, you can do that and then just like tap that little tag at any time and it'll come back onto your display. And it works on your iPhone now too. So it's awesome. I use it all the time.
And those are some nice little bonus tips there. I didn't know until I think we talked about it in one of our classes, actually, our iOS 14 class, but I didn't realize you could pinch and to adjust the size of it. That's a really nice little bonus tip.
It is, yeah. So that's our tip of the day. And next, I want to tell you about our Insider subscription. We were just mentioning before all these great videos that we have. This is part of our premium subscription. If you go to iPhoneLife.com/podcast discount, you'll get 10% off your subscription, which is a great bonus for all of you loyal podcast listeners. So you'll get not only our whole collection of video guides for all of your different Apple devices that will teach you start to finish how to use your new devices, but you'll also get unlimited access to our live online classes. We now have added 4 classes every year, plus monthly online live workshops that you can join, where we'll go in depth on a topic. For instance, as soon as the new operating systems come out, we launch the very next day a class that will teach you how to take advantage of all the new features and how to go through the updating your software without messing up your phone and things like that. We're going to teach you how to use the camera and how to organize your photos, all of that if you go and sign up for Insider. And we also have a feature called Ask an Editor, where you get access to our experts. If you're having a tech problem and you're not having an easy time fixing it, like you don't have to bother family members, you can email us and we'll walk you through and help you find solutions to your problems. You also get access to our full archive of iPhone Life magazine and the premium version of our podcast with no ads and premium extra content. What am I missing, David? Daily video versions of our daily tip.
Yeah, and we have an archive of thousands of them now, so you can go through all of them. And I'm particularly excited that we now have classes in our Insider and that we're doing live monthly workshops. So we have lots of ways to learn through Insider.
So start off your 2021 right by signing up for Insider, and this year really make use of your Apple devices. It's also something that you don't have to invest a lot of time when you sign up for Insider. There's so many different ways to learn that you can really learn at your own pace and use the features that work for you. We try to offer lots of different things, and you can sort of find within that what is the most accessible and comfortable for you.
One thing, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but it's important to emphasize for you podcast listeners, we have an extended version of the podcast for insiders. We have bonus content and it's ad-free. So you get an extra special podcast each episode.
Without us doing this every time.
Yeah, you don't have to listen to this because you're already enjoying Insider.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into our special theme now. We are as we mentioned, we want to help you start off your new year with apps and gear that help you meet your goals and live a healthier, happier life. We also want to we think it's a great time now to go through and do a digital decluttering and get rid of all the extra things on your device that might be slowing it down, or just stuff that you no longer need and makes your user experience with your phone less enjoyable. So let's dive into it. I see, David, you have some product recommendations. Let's start with that.
Sure. I have one that I use every day, which is the Withings Smart Scale. I've had it for years, and I actually love it. They're a sponsor now, so I have to put that disclaimer, but I've had this for years. I love it. And basically...
He's not just talking about them because they're a sponsor. He actually had it before.
This is true. And basically how it works is it's a normal looking scale, but when you step on it, first of all, it recognizes you. So you can have different profiles for different family members, and it syncs with your app, and you can track your, obviously you can track your weight but you can also track your body mass index over time. It also tells you the air quality, so that's a nice little bonus thing. It tells you the weather, which I actually really like. It's just a really quick, easy way in the morning as I'm getting ready to know what the weather is going to be. But my favorite part about this is that if you use it regularly over time, you get a really good sense of your weight trends. I've been using this for so many years that I can literally see like the peaks and valleys of when I've gained weight, when I've lost weight. And I'm actually a fan. I think that it's really, personally, I think it's healthy to weigh yourself every day. I know that's a controversial thing. But to me, it's sort of, it gets me out of the... I know a lot of people do, so it's a personal thing. But it gets me out of the headspace of like thinking it's a really charged thing. It just, it removes the emotions for it from me. I just look at it, and it also gives me a pretty decent sense of like which activities are causing me to gain or lose weight. And because it's not always intuitive, but if you look at like, it's pretty easy to see, oh, I lost weight this month. What did I do differently? Or I gained weight this month. What did I do differently? So I'm a big fan of that. If weight loss is something that is a goal for you for 2021, and I know we've all been very sedentary for 2020, so it might be, then I really recommend the Smart Scale.
I have a fun, while we're on the fitness side of things, a fun product recommendation. Cullen Thomas, one of our writers, featured this in our buyer's guide. It's called the Tangram Smart Rope, and it's $79, and it connects to your phone, so it tells you like how many reps you have from doing jump rope, and it has this really cool thing where it creates this sort of like holographic display on the wall that tells you how many reps you've done while you're jump roping. And it's a really cool like techie look to it. So if you're someone who's sort of likes to geek out on tech stuff and you're trying to get in shape, this is a great device, and you can, have like goals of how many reps you want to do every day, for instance. When I saw that, my husband just got a jump rope and is really he wants to be jump roping every day to get in shape for tennis. And I thought that this would have been a cool device for him instead of just a plain old jump rope.
Boring old jump rope.
Yeah. We talked about this last episode, but I think it's a good thing to bring up again, that Apple just came out with a fitness service. And this is, if you're wanting to get into working out and you're not going to the gym because of COVID, this is a really good alternative. It's $9.99 a month. You have to have Apple devices to use it. You can watch it on your Apple TV, iPhone, or iPad, and you use your Apple Watch. You hook it in with your Apple Watch so that it actually shows you completing your movement goals on the display as you work out.
And and right along with that, this is an obvious one, but a lot of people don't have it, and that's the Apple Watch. Dawn and I both love our Apple Watches. Yeah. We use it for fitness constantly. It is a nice, similarly to how with a smart scale, just tracking your activity over time can help you identify trends. It's the same with your Apple Watch. Tracking that, what your activity is over time is really nice to understand. Get a feeling for how many calories you burn while going for a walk versus how many calories you burn for going for a run. And, tracking each of your workouts, looking at them over time. I love the Apple Watch, so that's another great fitness device.
Yeah, I agree. And since Apple came out with the Apple Watch SE now, you can get, instead of like the starting price being $350, you can now get an Apple Watch, I think it's like $270 or something like that. So it's more affordable than it used to be. And yeah, with Apple Fitness Plus, I talked about this last episode too. I'd used it for a couple different workouts. And I did want to say, like, there's some issues with it. It's not perfect, but overall I think it's great. And the fact that it gives you that extra motivation through your Apple Watch does give it a big edge over just like watching a YouTube workout.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, I like it.
I've got a couple app recommendations for you here. The first one, this is another advertiser, just full disclaimer, but I only recommend things that I like. They do not pay me to recommend them. But it's funny because they brought this on my radar, which I don't normally think of calendars and reminders as being a New Year's resolution type thing, but every year their ads just go through the roof this time of year, and they find that across the board that all of a sudden one of people's goals is to get more organized, and one of the best ways to get organized is to have a good reminders app and a calendar app. And so Fanatic, who is a sponsor of ours, and they have an app called Pocket Informant, really does have one of the best apps for this. And what they do is they combine the reminders and the calendars app into one. So it's all in one place, and it allows you to, it's just a more natural way of interacting with it, because there's so many times where I don't know, am I creating a reminder for tomorrow or am I adding it to my calendar for tomorrow? And in reality, they're kind of the same functionality. So it's a great app. They invest a lot of energy into making it really easy and intuitive to use. Also, it works across all of your devices. So if you're somebody who, let's say, maybe doesn't have a Mac computer, then suddenly all of Apple's calendar apps aren't going to work very well for you. So it's a great option as well.
Awesome. Yeah, there's something so satisfying about like really spending the time to like fill out your calendar schedule and set your reminders and kind of like have all of that set up really well in your phone. And we've had this sponsor for a long time, and they've just been really popular with our listeners. I've used it a bunch too and enjoy it. It works out really well, like both with Withings and with this company, that when we get sponsors that like we really believe in, and then it's easy to yeah, it's a win-win.
Absolutely. And it definitely is one of the things, we're going through this list that I want to do better in 2021. I actually just started this month of just being more diligent about adding things to my to-do list, because I have this really bad habit of keeping that list in my head, and then it doesn't stay in my head, it just disappears, and I just kind of have to have to improvise every week. So having a to-do list, keeping it organized, making sure I'm prioritizing it is something that I need to get better at. So it's on my list.
I found that the HomePod Mini has made me want to do that more, because I like using the feature where you ask what your schedule is that day and it tells you.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
The other thing that's really nice to have it all in there.
What I love, if you are using the Reminders app, I have a grocery list on my Reminders app, and you can use Siri to add things to your grocery list. So I'll always be like the kitchen, and I'll be like, hey Siri, add milk to my grocery list, because I just ran out of milk. So that's a really nice use case too.
Yeah. So for me, I don't have much more. I wanted to spend most of my time talking about like the digital decluttering, because I think that's a great thing to do this time of year. But did you have any other just sort of aspirational apps for people to use for New Year's resolutions? I
have one more for you, which is Duolingo. This is one that my stepson has been using. We because of COVID, he did a lot of homeschooling, and we improvised a lot. And one of the things we did is had him learn Spanish. And he used the app Duolingo, and it was great. He's 8, and he was learning Spanish. It was wild. And it's a really well-designed app. I think it's free, but they, to really use all their functionality, they have a monthly subscription service. But I'd recommend it if you are interested in using a language. Maybe you have travel aspirations for 2021.
Yeah, that's a great idea. The one I wanted to put in was Musician. I think I've mentioned it before, but a couple years ago, I picked up a ukulele, and Musician is a fun app that gives you, it's like just fun. It gives you little exercises where you play along with different songs. It has a tuner in it. You can like learn you can learn ukulele versions of like pop songs and things like that. So that combined with just using like YouTube tutorials has been a fun way to like pick up some different songs. Don't know how my husband feels about my ukulele hobby, but
on our 200th episode, are you going to play the ukulele for us?
I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know if that's like a promise or a threat. I'm not very good. I would be happy to do that, but David, you might want to have me you might like edit it out later.
Oh, I've heard you play. You're I mean, this was a couple years ago. I don't know if you've gotten better or worse, but you were decent. It was listenable.
Okay. All right. Yeah. 200th episode. I'll play you guys the ukulele.
I can't remember. I think it was our 5-year company anniversary. I had a goal of juggling flaming pins for the 5-year anniversary, and my Raph, our CTO, who was on the podcast recently, is an excellent juggler and taught me how to do it. And then I did it for our 5-year anniversary. Were you there then?
I remember that. I was there then. I think that was towards the beginning of when I was there. That was fun.
It's just as terrifying as it sounds. I like had a couple jugs. Like, I'm not that good. But maybe for our 200th episode, you can play the ukulele and I'll juggle.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. Since there's no like fire involved with mine, I'm comfortable with that. All right. So digital decluttering. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's get back on topic.
Yeah. So, as everyone knows, I feel like with Marie Kondo and all of that, like people are really into living a more minimalist life and clearing out the clutter of things that don't, spark joy in your life or whatever. I definitely, with all the time at home in 2020, spent more time throwing away old stuff. But people sometimes forget about your phone, and it's really like between all these different files that people have sent you, like gifts and different things, like will clog up your messages app. Sometimes you've downloaded tons of apps that you haven't used in years that they're, just sitting there and sort of getting in the way of getting where you need to go. So I think it's a lot of people don't take the time to go and through all of this stuff and organize their phone. So I thought we could talk a little bit about that. Yeah, what are some of your top tips for decluttering?
One thing I would recommend, there's a lot there, but I recommend everybody review their notification privileges for apps. Because what I find is a lot of times I open an app and A, I haven't used it before, so I don't know if I'm going to want notifications, and B, I'm just kind of trying to get through it quickly, and I'll often allow it to give me notifications. But notifications are a really powerful thing. They grab your attention and make you pay attention to your phone when you weren't necessarily trying to. And so I recommend going and proactively clearing out a lot of them that you don't actually want to get notified regularly. And, in particular, it's like I get notification from news apps, and it's like I don't necessarily want in the middle of my day to have there's a mass shooting. Like, I can check it at my time when I'm ready to look at the news. I don't need that in my face. So really think through, like you're saying, and honestly, I love Marie Kondo. Are these notifications bringing you joy? Yeah, are they serving you at all? And checking that is a really good, easy decluttering.
Yeah, a lot of this goes hand in hand with the type of recommendations we give if you're wanting to work on your iPhone addiction. I feel like all of us at this point have a bit of an addiction. It's not a personal insult. And it's because a lot, these apps, developers spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to hook you in. And it's just based on basic psychology. So yeah, some of it is these notifications will draw you in when you picked up your phone to do something else. So you want to shift things back to that you're using your phone, your phone isn't using you. So I think one big thing too is I like to turn off badge app icons for most of my apps, because that little red notification on your app is very distracting for the mind. You want to see what's new that's in there. So if it's not an app that you're wanting to visit regularly, going and turning that off is great. So that's something you also do in your notification settings, like David said. So notifications is the first big recommendation we have. Another one is going in and just checking out what's going on with your local iPhone storage. This is different than your iCloud storage. So you go to Settings, General, iPhone Storage, and you'll see a display that will show you how much of, depending on what iPhone storage you bought, you'll see a different total amount. I have 128 and 47 gigabytes of that are being used right now. So I'm not having a big problem there, but I still don't want extra stuff on my phone that I don't need. So at the top, it'll give you recommendations of ways that you can clear out clutter. It'll say review large attachments. So you can tap that and it will show you, a lot of times it'll be videos that people sent you. And most of the stuff that people are sending me in messages, I don't really feel attached to and don't want to keep. So you can go through and either swipe left to delete things or tap edit in the top right corner and like tap at all the videos that you don't need and then hit delete and trash them.
One thing I do want to make a couple recommendations there. Things to be careful of. Number one, something that can save you a lot of space, but I recommend using with caution, is offloading unused apps. I used to do that.
I hate this feature.
I hate it. Because what ends up happening is there's this category of apps that you don't use regularly, but when you use it, you want it. So a good example of that may be, this was something that drove me crazy, is travel apps, right? Like, I don't use the Southwest app very often, but when I'm traveling and I want to load up my ticket, I don't want to have to re-download that app in the airport. And it just kept happening to me over and over where I'd try to use an app. It was like a situation where I really wanted to access it quickly, and it couldn't because I had offloaded it. And then I'm trying to download it when I don't have Wi-Fi. I'm on the go and I need to use the app. So that's one that I recommend being cautious using.
How do you turn that off? I'm like having a hard time finding it.
I don't know because I right now I just have it like the option is typically there to enable it in your storage settings, and mine I just haven't enabled it. I don't know. We'll have to. I'll have to.
I'm looking it up.
Okay, I got other points too while you're looking that up. The other feature that
interesting. It's in the App Store now.
I thought that's where it might be.
They moved it. I feel like it didn't used to be there. So you go to App Store and then...
You're literally turning this feature off as I'm talking?
Yeah, seriously. I like... Hold on. You keep going because
okay.
I'm...
You're now just a listener of the podcast.
Yeah.
The other thing that I did that I regretted was another thing that can save you a lot of space is if you delete your message history. So you can have your messages stick around forever. You can have it delete after a year or after, I think, a month. And at one point I got desperate and I deleted everything after a year. And I really miss it. Because first of all, there's times when somebody texted me something a long time ago that I want to go look. Like, for example, my sister texted me her address. Now I need to send her a Christmas present, and it was over a year ago and I don't have it. Another example is people die and you've lost all their messages. So that's another one where, it's a personal preference thing, but my recommendation is to have your message history kept forever. It's just really there's all of these use cases that I find that I regret having deleted old messages. So that's another one where I don't recommend being proactive. A couple ways though where I think you should be proactive. Number one, like Donna said, reviewing large attachments. You can do it from the iPhone storage settings, but also often what it is it's long videos that you recorded. And so if you just go look through your videos in your Photos app and just delete the ones that were really long that you don't need anymore, that frees up a lot of storage. The other thing is audio or video that you've downloaded. So the podcast app is a notorious culprit for downloading a bunch of stuff that you don't need. So going into your podcast app and managing, are you downloading like a bunch of podcasts that you subscribe to that you aren't actually listening to? Going into like Netflix and Disney Plus and iTunes and seeing did you download movies, because that takes up a lot of storage as well. Okay, I went through a lot there. Donna, what do you have?
Okay, so if you go, but I just wanted to give you all an update. If you go into Settings, App Store, there you'll have the option to toggle off offload unused apps. And once that's toggled off, when you download an app, it's there, and Apple's not going to decide to uninstall it for you if you haven't used it in a while. And like David said, that can help you out. Like, it's really annoying if there's an app that you use periodically and every time you try to use it, it has to be reinstalled. And depending on your internet connection at the moment, that could be a problem. So if you have a phone with a decent amount of storage, I like to turn that feature off. And yeah, so other things you can do. Now with iOS 14, you can design your home screen how you want it to look. And I think that that's great for digital decluttering in that you can actually limit how many home screens you have. Now with the app library, which you swipe right to left to get to, you'll have a list there, an alphabetical list of all of the apps on your phone. When you tap the search icon there, you can scroll through. So that's always there. You can always access every single app on your phone that way. But you don't necessarily need to have every single app that you have on your home screen. And people have been getting around this for years by throwing stuff into folders, but like you don't even need to do that. So now if you tap and hold on your display and you tap the little plus icon in the upper left corner. Wait, shoot, that takes you to your widgets. Never mind. You tap at the bottom below where all of your app icons show up. There's like little dots, and you tap that and it will show you a page of all of your home screens, and you can select which ones show up. And I've changed it now so I only have one home screen. And on that screen, I like to keep the apps that I use every day and the apps that I would like to get myself to use every day, like the ones I want to encourage. So I'm not going to be putting Facebook and Instagram there. Like those are the ones I'm trying to minimize, but Musician would be one I would put there because it's an app that I'd like to play the ukulele more, and I'm going to keep my work apps there and Spotify and stuff like that. So that's a way to declutter and just keep what you're wanting to use your phone for within sight.
And there's two types of people in this world. There's the people that keep their apps meticulously organized in folders and folders within folders. My experience is those people are pretty few and far between, especially those who not only do that once, but then keep it maintained regularly as they're downloading apps. If you're one of those people, then you may want to have a bunch of home screens. But most people, in my opinion, the primary way you should access apps is by searching for them. And people don't think about it. They try to always find it just by swiping through a bunch of home screens. You don't need the home screen, just search for the apps. And if you just get in the habit of that, you can have such a clean phone because you don't have to have page after page after page of apps.
That pretty much, those are my biggest recommendations. I think, you also may want to go in and delete photos that you don't want. Like these days, so many of us take like more than 100 photos of an outing that we had. And so you might have like 6 shots of a person and really you just want one. So you could like trim down 100 photos to like 20 because you're taking basically different versions of the same photo. So that's something I don't have any really fast hack for you there. Like you do kind of need to go through and choose what to keep and delete. But I think that's something that's worth doing because then when you're going and looking through your photos later, you can see a nice curated, like assortment of photos from different places you've been and not a bunch of junk that you don't need.
That ties into one of my New Year's resolutions, my digital New Year's resolutions. Apple has added a lot of new functionality around creating albums, and I really never do that, but I would like to do that more. I'd like to be able to have kind of albums from important moments in my life that are a little more curated. So that's it's less decluttering, but it's a nice thing to do. And then you can have those albums to review over time. So that's something I want to do a little more of. Another thing I'd recommend, we talked about reviewing your local storage, but you also want to do that for your iCloud storage. Because that's another thing where make sure you have enough cleared out iCloud storage that you're backing up regularly. That's one of the big mistakes people make is not backing up, having automatic backups set up for you. And then the last one I would say is review. Yeah, Donna, you're typing just what I was getting ready to say. That's so funny. Donna's we have a Google Doc open for our script. I'll let you say it, Donna.
It's a good time while you're going through this to figure out what apps are potentially hogging your battery and going through and addressing those now. So you go into settings, tap battery, and there you'll be able to see, like up top, you'll see the apps that are using the most of your battery. And you can look at that over either like from the last day or the last 10 days. and then like either delete the app if you're not using it, or just adjust how you're using it accordingly. Like, what do you have any tips for that? Like, if it's not an app that you want to delete, but it's using a lot of battery, what can you do about it?
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I guess one thing is background app refresh, making sure you've turned off your background app refresh, because a lot of times it's using battery when you're not even using the app. You can have changing. The other thing I'd recommend doing is monitoring what apps are you using your location, not only because it's a pretty serious privacy violation at times, but also because it does drain your battery a lot. So that's a nice way. And there's now, Apple gives you options, so you can allow it to use your location while you're using the app as opposed to always, is a good one. My final recommendation that I would say is review your passwords. This is a really good thing to do every once in a while. Change your passwords for your apps that you use regularly that you need to be secure, like your email and your banking. And also go and look through what are the passwords that you're reusing, because you're not really supposed to be doing that, and then create new secure passwords for that and save it in your password manager, whether that's Keychain, 1Pass, LastPass, any of those. But having secure passwords especially for your most secure apps and using a password manager that would be a great New Year's resolution. If you all did that, I feel like my work here is done.
Yeah. And here, I wanted to make our question of the week, this ties in now, to ask you all, what are your New Year's resolutions, and how are you planning to use your iPhone to meet them? And that can be either something you were inspired by this podcast to do, so don't shy away from sending us something we talked about at the show, or let us know your new ideas that maybe we hadn't thought of. Yeah. So you email podcast@iPhoneLife.com and let us know what are your New Year's resolutions and how are you using your Apple devices to meet them.
All right, guys, Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's, and stick around to Insiders because we have some extra special content for you.
Yes.
Bye.